Coinbase is IPOing this week, and they definitely have the hype. And they also have going for them the fact that crypto in general as a market has been booming this year. In this video, we're gonna be talking about kind of my opinion on Coinbase, the IPO, the valuation, look at some of the financials, and just talk about Coinbase in general terms as well. Coinbase is supposed to start trading April 14th as their S1 filing shows, with a very appropriate ticker symbol, COIN. So get this, when it comes to valuation, the company was valued around $8 billion in 2018. At the end of 2020, with the hype around Bitcoin going back to 20,000 and above, the valuation of Coinbase was around mid-20s to lower 30s in terms of billions of dollars. As of now, the expected valuation of Coinbase when it IPOs is $100 billion. Now, when you look at their S1 filing, they did have financials for 2020 and 2019. What is good about this company is it's not unprofitable. It's actually making money, which is good to see for an IPO. The net income is $322 million with revenue of $1.1 billion in 2020. And versus 2019, they did see some nice growth across the board. They became profitable. They doubled revenue. So all good things to see. Now, the question is, when you compare that to a $100 billion valuation, does that make sense? Now, this graph explains a little bit why the valuation has exploded recently. If you look at Q1 of 2021, they had $1.8 billion worth of revenue. That's more than all of 2020 combined. So from that $1.8 billion in revenue, they made around $730 to $800 million in net income, which once again is more than double all of 2020's net income. They also said that they now have 56 million verified users, which if you look at a chart of their verified users over time, Q4 20, they had 43 million. So that means that they added 13 million people in Q1 of 2021. So why such a huge explosion in revenue? One word: Bitcoin. As of this time when this video is being shot, Bitcoin is currently at 63,220. Now, if you scroll down to the chart, you can see at the end of last year, 2020, we were pushing around 20,000. Currently, we're on an explosive run in growth, which means people are interested in getting into Bitcoin once there's hype around it. And since Coinbase derives most of the revenue from the buying and selling of cryptocurrencies with fees related to their exchange, that's good when Bitcoin has hype. But this is another interesting graph that Coinbase shared in their S1 filing, that the monthly transacting users during crypto asset volatility changes. So in Q1 of 18, that's right after the peak of 2017, and 2018 wasn't a great year for crypto. You can see that the amount of users transacting went down, and as the hype around Bitcoin has exploded, so has the number of users transacting. So it makes sense. And this graphic shows a little breakdown of over the years how they've made money. At the beginning of the company, most of the revenue is coming from investing, transaction fees, and that sort of nature. Now, in 2020 and going forward, they are trying to build out subscription and services revenue. So whether that's taking a part of staking fees or allowing people to borrow and lend money and taking a portion of that, they are expanding their services. But here's the thing with Coinbase's Q1 results, right? They were amazing, but they can't really give guidance because their revenue is very connected to the price of Bitcoin or just cryptocurrency in general of how that market's doing. And they're directly linked and directly correlated to how well they're doing. And don't get me wrong, the company's definitely trying to divert that risk by providing different services. So the store, stake, distribute, build, these are all revenue sources that the company can make whether the crypto market is in a hype phase or not. My only concern though is right now I don't have enough information on what each of these revenue streams looks like and the projected growth. For me and my personal investing style, I tend to like to invest in businesses that are very predictable or the growth trajectory is predictable. The only problem I see with Coinbase is that it's hard to figure out how much they're going to grow, other than if you assume the crypto market is very undervalued still and is just going to continue to explode to the upside, then it makes more sense to say, okay, well, I want to be a part of that, so maybe I invest in Coinbase. For me, I already own cryptocurrency and I have a direct investment in Bitcoin, in Ethereum, right? So for me, it's a little different where I can just own the asset instead of owning the company that's making money from selling shovels. But let's go back to the valuation. Just look at it once again, look at where their earnings are right now, and kind of what would make sense for me from a valuation standpoint. Let's just make an extreme bull case for 2021 and assume that the $800 million in net income is repeatable, and they can do that for all 4 quarters of the year. And let's say the net income comes in around $3.2 billion. Let's just take a look at quick multiples if they do get valued at $100 billion. If they have a bull case and they repeat quarter 1 and have $3.2 million in net income, their PE ratio would be around 31. Now, bear case, let's say they don't perform the same in the rest of the quarters as Q1. Let's say $1.4 billion in net income. You're talking about 71 for a PE ratio, which, I mean, hey, if they're growing their earnings at a 30% rate for the next 5 years, this is a steal, right? The company should be valued at $100 billion. Now, my problem, though, is the fact that they can't really forecast their earnings right now, and it's not as stable as I'd like. It's hard to say how much earnings growth they really have. Now, if the IPO gets way too much hype and it comes out to $130 billion, I mean, you're getting a worse and worse deal. Now, for me, if somehow this stock came down to, 60 billion, 70 billion, and the PE ratio for the bull case is down to this 18.75, then I'd be more willing to just dip my toes into the investment as more of a speculative play and really just a growth in the crypto economy as a whole. And then you have the situation where maybe the crypto market just implodes on itself, and then all of a sudden the net income for the company is only 500 million for a year, right? Something like that. The valuation is going to get crushed. So for me, I would prefer to see how they build out their other revenue streams to get a little bit more stable there and see kind of the growth rates, and then see how much they're still making from the transaction revenue. Because for me, I'd rather see the subscription revenue grow and have that be stable and that the source of growth versus transactions, which is based more around the hype cycle. And then over time, I believe the transaction fees for an exchange will get commoditized. So it will be the same thing as Robinhood, where the fees will get smaller and smaller, and Coinbase won't be as profitable when it comes to transaction fees, because why am I paying 1.5% for a transaction when I can get it for free somewhere else and then it's subsidized somehow? So that is the scary part for me. If most of their money is from transactions, that's not a good sign. I would rather be about the other services that they're providing. There you have it. There's my take on Coinbase. For me, I'm not investing if the valuation is, over 100 billion. If it does pull back over the next couple months, maybe the hype dies down, which I doubt it, because cryptocurrency right now, I think, is actually getting a bump from the Coinbase IPO. I don't see that really happening. It would take more of a crash in terms of crypto prices to see, I think, a retraction in that valuation. But we'll see. Hopefully you guys learned something in this video or found it interesting. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to Main Street Wolf, where I do talk about crypto, stock, investing, options, all that good stuff. So definitely check out my other videos. Thanks guys for watching, and have a great day.